The deadly sin of wrath is defined by the uncontrolled feelings of anger, rage, and even hatred. It often starts as a small feeling before taking over your entire body like a parasite. This is often why many people often see it as one of the worst sins. There have been many portrayals of this type of archetype put into characters. Some examples of this could be Sasuke Uchiha from the anime and manga Naruto, who utilizes his anger, hatred, and revenge for the majority of the show as reasons for his actions. Or Meliodas from the show The Seven Deadly Sins. When he transforms into his demon mode and assault mode, he becomes a cold and ruthless monster, becoming an unstoppable force with extreme power. But these characters don't exemplify wrath to a certain point like Full Metal Alchemist King Bradley does. In this video, I'll be analyzing King Bradley throughout the series to explain his pivotal moments and how his character is one of the best representations of this calm and quiet anger and rage. Before we begin diving into King Bradley's character, let's go over some important background information about Full Metal Alchemist. In order for something to be obtained, something of equal value must be lost. Full Metal Alchemist is a story that revolves around our main characters Edward and Alphonse Elric. They attempt to use a forbidden form of alchemy called human transmutation in order to bring their mother back as kids. This ends up being a horrible decision, as it results in Alphonse's body disappearing and his soul being tied to a metal suit of armor, and Edward losing his arm and leg. They are torn mentally and physically from this until some of the military soldiers, Colonel Roy Mustang and Lieutenant Riza Hawkeye, come out to recruit Edward, which reignites him to start being an alchemist again. He gets Automel, which are metal replacements of limbs, and joins the military as the youngest state alchemist, becoming a
dog of the military.
This starts the major events to happen in Full Metal Alchemist. Now, let's begin to take a look at King Bradley's character. King Bradley was born with nothing, being raised in a camp filled with orphans, all with no name and were only there for one objective, for one to get strong and intelligent enough to become the leader of the country, Amestris. After he goes into adolescence, he and the other candidates then are subjected into receiving the Philosopher's Stone. The stone killed everybody but him due to the immense power you need in order to absorb it. This turns him into a homunculi, and where he gets the name King Bradley and Wrath. He then becomes the Führer, ruling over Amestris as the head of the military. This is important for the promised state that Wrath's creator, the Dwarf in the Flask, hypothesizes to turn the future country into pure souls to absorb them all and become the perfect being. At first glance, he looks to be a man in his 60s and with one eye missing. In the start of the show, the first impression that we see of him is as this strong old guy that makes a joke out of Edward during his state alchemist exams. This makes it seem like the leader of the country is just an average leader who oversees his people. But it quickly takes a sharp turn during the Devil's Nest fight, where Bradley shows his true identity as Wrath versus Greed. Now, calling this a fight would be giving Greed too much benefit, as he couldn't even land a single punch. This scuffle only does one thing: showcase the true power of King Bradley. He easily takes on Greed over and over again, without remorse, and ruthlessly ends Greed's henchmen. He then takes Greed into a secret laboratory with the other homunculi and the Dwarf in the Flask, also commonly referred to as Father. Father then ends Greed and absorbs him back into his body. These scenes reveal that Bradley is not this war hero, but a cold and ruthless savage, doing what Father commands him to do in order to fulfill this promised day. It really shows how Wrath is not this yelling of hatred and rage, but a steady and calm face that is able to take someone down instantly. As the main cast progresses into finding and figuring out Father's secret plans and the homunculi, King Bradley does some minor things such as trying to stop Ling Yao and Lan Fan from capturing Gluttony, one of the 7 homunculuses. This results in Lan Fan cutting off her arm in order to throw King Bradley off their trail. Later, when Roy Mustang attempts to leak to the military that King Bradley is a homunculus, he quickly realizes that the whole military knows about that and more. Now, instead of killing Mustang or thrashing out at him, he calmly brings him to his office to teach him how out of place he is. Mustang attempts to threaten Bradley with his son, Selim, which is very ironic watching the whole show, as Selim was actually the first homunculus Father made, with Bradley being the last. He quickly teaches him a lesson by spreading Mustang's personal group across the entire military, with Riza Hawkeye, his most important soldier, being his personal assistant. This basically means that she was under his control. Both of these actions were done with no hatred or outlash, but instead with a calm face. This is what I love most about King Bradley, because he does what he needs to do quickly and efficiently, and when he is stumped or outsmarted, he simply compliments them and moves on. Before we cover King Bradley's actions in The Promised Day, Roy Mustang and the other members of the military attempted an assassination attempt where they tried to blow up the train that he was in that was going to the command center. He somehow, though, gets out of it by making a path out of the flying debris and instantly follows through with it with precise movements. This feat again strengthens his immense power and speed for his really old age. Now in The Promised Day, we finally see this calm anger explode. He first arrives to the overtaken command center and immediately storms through it alone and nearly takes out an entire tank before fighting Greed and Ling's body with the military. This time though, he is on the losing side, as he first loses his sword and then gets majorly injured, getting stabbed in the torso and then getting his ultimate eye stabbed out by Greed. After more fighting, they both are hanging on for their lives on the wall. But thanks to Lan Fan and the military's help, they shoot Bradley off into the water, and it seems like he is finally dead. But he uses the last of his plot armor to see an open pipe and swim through it into the underground of the command center. This is where he fights his last battle as he meets with some of the main cast for the last time and begins to fight with the last Ishvalan warrior, Scar. The Ishvalan Civil War was a war to take over the Ishvalan lands so that Father could continue with the Promised Day plan and to eradicate most of the Ishvalan race. In this war, there is one particular moment for Wrath that sets his future for his fight with Scar.
The life of any individual human is only worth one life. That's all. Nothing more and nothing less. Your life is not enough to call off the extermination.
How can you be so inhuman? You will suffer the hammer of God!
God, you say? Now this is intriguing. How much longer do you think your God plans to wait before unleashing his fury? Just how many thousands of lives must I take before he decides to strike me down?
You're a monster!
Open your eyes. God is nothing more than a construct created by man to inspire fear and promote order.
Now in the present time, Bradley begins to fight Scar and goes on a tangent about how Scar failed his god, as alchemy was viewed as a foreign concept in Ishval. But, as Bradley is about to deliver the final blow to his neck, he suddenly gets blinded by the reflection of the sun from his sword, and this gives Scar enough time to blow both of his arms off instantly, as this marks the end of Wrath as he succumbs to his injuries.
I lived my life by forever following the path that had been set for me. Thanks to the idiosyncrasies of humanity, it was, at least, a life worth living for.
In the end, he died accomplishing his goal, to follow the objectives of his father and to follow his straight path. King Bradley is a great example on how to embody wrath into a character, as it is able to play into the themes of anger and hatred with an emotionless attitude, making him one of the best portrayals of wrath.